Welcome to Uplink, where we explore the world of digital infrastructure, uncovering the technology fueling AI and cloud innovation with the leaders making it happen. I've been waiting a while to do this one. Finally got him. This is exciting. So I want you to introduce yourself and tell me what you think you do. And I've got a whole list of all the stuff that I know that you do as well that you haven't got written down. What we've got here, ladies and gentlemen, is something I had to get printed actually. Here it is. We're the king of t-shirts, and today we get to interview the Godfather. I don't know if you can get a zoom in on that bad boy, but there it is. The Godfather is in town. Tony. Hey, Tony. Tell me the Godfather. Hey, man. Look, thanks for catching up. We're in your city. It's not often we get you down and actually chat like this. So tell me, what would you describe you as right now in your role or your many roles?
So we launched a company called Beyond, which has been fantastic. It's a data center construction operations company.
And that's what I want to drill into a bit after this as well.
100%.
That's incredible. Yeah.
So we started that. We've been working on it for a couple of years. We launched earlier this year, but sort of we partnered with Wafra, which is effectively the U.S. arm of the Kuwaiti Social Security arm.
Awesome. That's for funding and
That's for
support.
funding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. These things are not cheap.
These things are not cheap to build.
Yeah.
This is my 5th deal with them.
Wow.
They've been a great partner. We did a car wash business together. We did
Really? We're gonna get into that too.
which was incredibly successful. We made
awesome.
6+ times our money.
Wow.
It was a great launch with Otto Lauterbach and Ryan Brenner. These guys
Literally driving car washes and what happened?
yeah, it's Express Wash. It's
There
called,
it is.
and the best name, it had the best name, was called L Car Wash. In Miami, and 2 incredible entrepreneurs, Justin Landau and Jeff Karras. They ran it. They were fantastic guys. Came up with the idea.
So they've been with you for a while. So you car washes.
So we did car washes.
Okay.
The original investment was they invested in TierPoint. So they invested in TierPoint, was on the executive team, and then we met each other. I subsequently left TierPoint to run a company called Recovery Point. But I was involved with the car wash, was on the board, and we did an incredible investment in ConnectBase. So we did that with Ben Edmond.
Yeah, they just had a nice.
They had a nice exit.
Yeah.
They had a great exit.
You know what? He's been on the show.
Has he been?
He has.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben's awesome.
Early days. We got there. I was there before he became famous.
Before he was Ben.
Exactly.
So I've known him for 25 years. We did that investment in 2022.
No way. Okay.
Great exit. Ben took the business from 0 to 200 million.
Yes, huge.
It was great win for him. And then we did, I'm on the board of a company called CLC, which is it's a 18-wheeler trailer leasing business.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And then we've done Beyond. And so it's been a great success and a really good run with Wafra. They've been fantastic to me. I have a great relationship with them. Otto and Ryan have been the leaders with Michael Coleman as well. And we've worked incredibly well together. So
we'd say serial entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure you don't want to be called that, but we just called you the Godfather. So hang on. So these are all the companies that you've built. You're also on the board of a lot of.
I haven't built all of
companies.
those, but I'm on the board of those. I'm on the board of few, and then we built Beyond, and then we built OCOLO.
Yes,
So
OCOLO is
OCOLO we built in 2000. Really started in sort of 2021.
Yeah.
Kicked it off. OCOLO is an online marketplace for data centers. It's my partner there is Sean McCarthy. We've done, kind of 20+ years. The dinosaurs in the space have decided that they wanted to, ideally work with the younger folks. And but we created this awesome platform where we have, I don't know, 250+ data center providers, about 8,000 providers, and it's a marketplace.
Yeah.
And we've enabled it with AI. We have a online contract management tool, which is all AI enabled. It's been, I will tell you, is starting getting into a startup at 50 was not ideal, but we've made it work, and company's very profitable. We're small, we're 6 people. But,
Yeah, it's awesome.
it does the job.
Yeah, and that's, I think we've talked about this a lot on this particular podcast, but it's getting harder and harder to find space and power, and it's particularly with this sort of rise of inference, and we could chat about that as well. there's multiple phases. There's people that are looking to try and build a gigawatt, which is then folks that have to build, find land, find power to build something. Then there's a lot of folks who are utilizing existing data centers who need to land like now or tomorrow. And I think the OCOLO piece is really powerful to say, I need space and power now, but I don't know where to look.
That's right.
And you can scour pretty much the globe, but I think a lot of it's probably US at the moment, or is it it's
Yeah.
worldwide?
Surprisingly, the first 3 years were basically all non-US.
Yes.
And
Oh,
then
non-US.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
and now we've come back. We've sort of repatriated back to
Yeah.
US. But we cover every continent except Antarctica.
Yeah, well, we're working on
Well,
that.
we're Sean and I are taking a journey there to see if we can build
Exactly.
that.
Take one of our switches, pop that place for me. It's the
Exactly.
only country we're missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than it's been an interesting ride seeing. I mean, I think there's been two constants in this data center space, right? You're looking for reasonable space and reasonable power.
Yeah.
Just the enormity has been insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen the last 18, 24 months, the growth, far exceeds 20 plus years before.
Yeah,
And
it's insane.
it's exceptional. And I think the next 5 years are going to be even more exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean,
We should dig into some of it around like what you're seeing entering this space. It's funny, we were just at ITW
Yep.
and it was the conversations we were having. In fact, I talked to one of our customers who they provide a lot of compute and so forth. And they were telling us that they've found data center companies, or there's a lot of VC money or something, we'll call it new money in data
Yep.
center space. And they're just building things that are substandard. They're rushing, or they're not getting the parts, or they're not ordering in advance. And so there's these folks who've been doing this for a long time, who provide great product. There are all these sort of cowboys, I want to say, like that have entered into this space that have just been producing. And it's actually, it's the first time I've started to hear that the product is actually not a great experience for them. They gave examples of liquid cooled floors or liquid cooled facilities that don't have floors that were raised. Like I don't even understand some of these specs, but like we're talking just design specs that haven't been designed properly, which I find that's really hard to understand as well, because you could outsource most of these pieces, but
That's right.
it's like pieces of the puzzle are missing.
No, I think you're spot on. So what has happened is there's so many, not I wouldn't need to say entrants. There's new entrants, there's current folks that are just trying to get the challenge right now is just time to market, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that folks are trying to produce
Rush
something,
everything.
rush
Mm,
without the quality.
mm.
The other piece is what you brought up of liquid cooling. I would say that less than 10% of the industry fully understands liquid.
Yeah, that's probably one of the pivots. Even if you've been building data centers for the last 20 years,
It's
this
hard.
is different.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I think that obviously NVIDIA and AMD and these folks have captured it. They understand it.
Yes.
They're engineers. I think it's challenging for, folks that have been doing air cooling for 20 years to
Absolutely.
pivot immediately
Yeah.
and say, hey, we're going to liquid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard. And I think so.
What's in engineering completely re-engineered these buildings, but also, frankly, it's changed. What's the slow part of the equation is the build to build a data center. It's even slower to get the power, but let's just say the build component for this. What's challenging is NVIDIA keeps changing their chips,
That's right.
and the requirement of Vera is so different to what B's were, which was H's and so forth. And so now all of a sudden, you're trying to build something for 3 years, and every year NVIDIA's bringing out something different. And so that is also challenging. And the amount of power they're punching into a single rack, so the density of it changes how much liquid you need to get to it, how that works, how cold the liquid is or warm. And they've now sort of got it to a point where actually warm is better.
Yeah.
People looked at submersion for a period, and that's probably just not easy to run. This sort of direct to chips become sort of the answer, which I think probably makes a lot more sense. It's sort of,
Yeah. So
yeah, it sort of makes sense that it's been hard to keep up
I
with
think it's
this.
been hard. The other thing I want to say is I'm excited to hire you as my new engineer because you're talking your technical speak is pretty incredible.
Well, I just hear everyone telling me these problems. I'm like, that is a fascinating problem.
No, but we do
yeah.
have. So I think a couple things. One, the technology and the innovation has been so rapid in the
Yes.
space that we're going to go through a transition period within this space. I mean, you think about a lot of data centers have been around for 25, 30
Yeah.
years. And that tech that is in there today is quite outdated,
Yes.
but we've just been running on it. And now as we move to say, hey, how do we become more energy efficient? How
Yes.
to become more, green and carbon emissions and things like that? Most of those are not equipped to do that.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a fairly decent business if folks want to engage in this
Yeah.
is the adjacencies is, hey, how do we retrofit data centers without interrupting service?
Yes.
And I think that's going to be, so I talked to a gentleman at Geico a number of years
Mhm.
ago, and they had just completely refitted all of their data centers. I went to a 2.5 year Geico insurance, and they did a fantastic job. There are going to be more and more folks that are going to do
Yeah,
that.
retrofits. But
And
even if you retrofitted for something for 2 years ago,
oh, it's going to be
it's
outdated.
out
Yeah,
of
it's
date.
going to
That's
be
the
outdated.
challenge, yeah.
I mean, I think we're moving so quickly, and so as we talked about just a minute ago, is time to market is so
That's
important.
good.
I mean, and look, we're in this crazy stage right now where, I mean, I think you and I talked about this a couple of days ago. Is like when we started Telex, a big deal for us in 2012 was 1.25 megawatts.
Yes,
It's like a,
exactly.
that's a drop in the bucket now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We took that down in a week.
Yeah. Couple. I mean, that's one cabinet now.
That's true. It's insane,
It's
actually.
crazy.
Yeah, giant facilities are getting pulled down into its tiny. Space is it's not really space; it's power.
It's
Actually.
It's power and
How you cool that power.
100%. And I think the challenge right now, it's interesting. 2012 average was like 2 to 4 kVA per cabinet. The average is like 40 to 50.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
And yeah, so we've got all of these things changing so quickly. So then OCOLO solves a big problem,
Yeah.
which is I need a megawatt of power. I need 2
Yeah.
megawatts of power. I need it now, and I need it somewhere. And it's like, well, there's hundreds of providers, actually, data center companies. There's actually thousands of data centers, tens of thousands. Each one's at a different stage. Everyone will tell you, yes, I can get it for you in a year, 2 years, 3 years, or now, but it's not this, or it doesn't have this, and I haven't got that. And it's like really tricky.
No, I mean, it's like, hey, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows about Raxio, who covers tier 2 markets in Africa, and
Yeah.
they need space
They're
there, or
not- yeah.
Evolink in Bulgaria. I mean, these are companies that we work with
Yeah,
regularly,
yeah.
and we find, I guess, OCOLO finds this also sources for, we do a job that a lot of people don't want to do,
Yeah, it's super hard.
and we're happy to do it. We've
But by doing it for one, it's the same thing. You do it.
100%.
You're doing the same discussion it's the same discussion.
That's exactly right.
It's just maybe different scale, or it might be like a different power requirement, or
That's right.
cooling or whatever.
But we're looking for unique markets. We've done pretty much all the major carriers, major providers, and then now we're saying, okay, how do we get to the secondary and tertiary? And yeah, it's fun.
So that's OCOLO. That's an awesome company on its own right. But what you're doing with Beyond, which is not even on your LinkedIn, a little stealth mode,
It's a little stuff. Yeah.
that's really cool. So
Yeah.
my assumption is that you've been looking for power and space, and you got to a point where, for some of the hyperscale clients that probably needed to use you, you were like, well, actually, there isn't any,
Yeah.
and I'm going to build it for you and find it. So tell me
Yeah.
that story, because that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So we were looking.
And did you bet you didn't think you were going to be ending up doing that?
We didn't. We didn't. No, it was, look, we found a great customer. It was a hyperscaler who needed purpose-built data centers in certain markets. Wafra has made some great investments. They've invested in Vantage and DC Blocks. They invested in TierPoint. They're astute in the data center space. I had a relationship with them. We brought our client. The client really liked them. Everything came together.
Yeah.
You never know if it is.
No.
It could be a bump, and the customer might not like the financial sponsor,
Yeah.
and it all worked.
You've got to bring, that's the piece for this is, and we'll get into it, but you've got to bring so many pieces of the puzzle together.
That's right.
You're going to have to source land
Yep.
that has access to power. Then you get the regulations and the approvals from the local councils and all these. And this is not just one state or one county.
No,
This is
it's multiple. It's all. It's we're starting with 10 sites across the U.S., mostly tier 2 cities. Tier
and
2 and tier 3.
size roughly.
Size of 10 megawatts.
Which is,
It's not tiny.
but imagine 10 megawatts 3 years ago, 5 years
10
ago, you'd be
megawatts
like,
5 years ago,
what
it
was
was
like
like-
a state center?
Yeah, exactly. Now
It's like 3 cabinets.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one of the things that you
So it's big. It's like 10 megawatts,
Yeah,
but
10
times 10 across the US, and then
we're doing Europe as well. So
easy.
yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. Yeah. So look,
How many are you putting across Europe?
we're putting 9 in Europe.
Yeah,
So
wow.
and
And each, how many
they're 10 megawatts as well across
different countries? Or
across at least 6 countries. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
amazing.
So I think the policy. One of the things you brought up, which has really changed over the last little bit, is the policy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
This must be one of the hardest
the
pieces.
permitting the policy now, because I think there's a lot of I would say, um, there's challenges in terms of dealing with specific ordinances
Yeah.
where you're getting pushback from the communities,
Yes.
which has become, it's
Yeah, it's
become an issue. It's become an issue,
political,
and
it's emotional, it's also totally misinformed.
it's very
Uh,
misinformed. And I think our part within this space is we needed to do a better job of educating the community,
yeah,
right? And I don't know. I mean, I think that's going to be
there's a
all
lot
of
of work,
us.
I think. Yeah,
There's some work to be
yeah.
done. Look, I don't think anybody expected the pushback,
Mm.
and I think
No, the pushback is in many cases illogical
yeah,
and incorrect,
that's right.
but that doesn't matter. Unfortunately, perception is reality, and
100%.
so yeah, this particularly, I mean, the liquid thing, the water usage one is just the most bizarre one. That is,
Water
it's so obviously
usage.
not true, but
I think the water usage and the potential for radiation, I think,
oh,
is a challenge. I think the other piece is that we are bringing, economic growth to these areas,
it's
right?
huge.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
we're putting people in there to do construction. We're leaving people there permanently to maintain the
yeah,
data centers. We're bringing capital in
hmm
to markets that really, and before, across the U.S. that didn't
yeah,
have the data centers. And I think I don't. I'm not saying that it's panacea, but I am
mm,
saying that we are doing a lot of great work. I think the other piece is we have to be careful. We want to make sure that they're green and they're carbon
yes,
neutral.
yeah,
I think that's important. But I will tell you, I mean, overall, I think it's definitely got a lot harder.
yes, yeah.
I mean, I would say the last 24 months have been tricky.
Yes. So in your case, how on earth are you finding land? That's so you're
So
getting
we
basically
part
it's like nearly 20 10 megawatt data centers.
Yeah, so we
Um,
partnered with a great developer here in the US called Oppidan. They're
mm.
based in Minnesota. They've been fantastic. The guys,
So you find you hunt down somewhere with power, someone that can get the space. Then you got to get. And I chatted to the gentleman that we caught up with the other day. Who was saying there's all these mineral rights that are
that's right.
decoupled from land rights as
That's right.
well,
That's right.
which I found like a whole new industry like in that space, which is fascinating, particularly in Texas,
Well,
apparently.
in Texas, you can actually own mineral rights, which is
Without
different
the land.
without the land.
Yeah, that's the bit
That's
this
exactly right. It's quite interesting. Yeah,
so
so like
someone has the right to drill a hole through your data
somebody
center.
else's land
Exactly.
exactly, and find oil. That the oil is
Right,
theirs,
yeah.
but the land is somebody
I
else's.
have chosen to drill a hole through your data center, through all your chips in there to get to whatever's beneath it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I
That,
just might use that,
that's
right?
right. That's exactly it.
That's so
It is.
bizarre.
No, it is, and so I think. But, I think you met Drew the other day from
Mm,
Oppidan, who's been, Drew and Brian have been, driving force for us,
mm.
helping us. They're out there sourcing the land. We look at the design to make sure it's efficient and obviously the hyperscaler we partner with approves it. It's their design. They want to make sure it's the most efficient
Mm.
use of the space. And look, we got to look out for the obstacles. Like some areas where we've had to pivot.
So can you get like let's say you get how do you get the power bit to it, or does
Yeah.
it come with the ability to access, or do you then have to
We
build into a grid? Like what?
Yeah,
Explain
so
that
we've
bit.
been primarily looking for where we can in these markets, specific powered land, right?
And they've got the power running by to that. What do they have to put in? I don't even know what happens there.
Yeah,
What does that look like?
it depends. We want to make sure that we can get, the first priority is to see if we can get grid.
Mm.
If
And
not,
if grid, there's already a power line running by it, and
there
they
might
would
not be. There might not be. We just need to make sure that we can build a power line
okay,
or a substation.
and then they can supply that much.
That's right. And then
Okay.
ensuring that they can give us 10 megawatts.
And 10 meg what does even 10 megawatts look like? Is that like a just single power, a lot of them, or how do I don't even know.
Well,
What is 10
the
meg?
way that we're building obviously dual feeds to
Yes,
ensure that
that's
there's
right. Yeah.
completely diverse. And but look, I mean, if you think about
Plus diesel gen backups and all those.
that's all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we need to make sure that we're all set with that. And then obviously, we're on the critical list
Yeah. Supply.
for everything
Yeah.
for specifically for diesel
Yes. Supply of system.
supply and
Yeah.
things like that.
By the way, it's worth touching on that. People probably don't realize that when there's a problem with
Yeah.
power, its diesel starts getting diverted to certain
That's it.
locations. And so you need to be on the priority list. They want to send diesel to a hospital, they want
That's
to
right.
send it to the government, whatever, something, something. And
Hospital,
then you need
government,
to
and
be in
then
there.
data centers need to be on there too because we
Yes.
are spinning up critical data within these
Correct. Yeah.
facilities. we got to make sure everybody gets their Netflix. You know what I mean?
It's so important.
Right.
Imagine pandemonium.
You can't watch your show. I mean, that's
right.
important.
Get that diesel rerouted. Red button.
Exactly. No, it's important. So, but yeah, we have to be on the critical list. I mean, I think, during COVID, most data center workers were on the essential employee list
Yeah.
as well. So, because you had to go in.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran a business which was called Recovery Point, which 30+% of the business was federal
Sort of
government.
backup.
Yeah, it was backup, it was
Uh-huh.
recovery. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and it was we were on the essential work employee
Yeah.
list, so and worker list. So that was really important, and I think we're going to continue to see that. I mean, the more we digitize everything,
Mm.
the more data centers are relevant. And Michael, you run an incredible company. You pass it enormous. I mean, I can't even imagine
Yeah.
how many bits you pass.
Lots.
It's just
Yeah.
millions,
Yeah.
and similar to you, what you're doing is the critical data that's being passed over I mean, hospital records, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
That's right.
Lots of
Yeah. Oh,
Netflix, lots of
yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that people realize that, all joking aside, yes, there are other things besides content.
Entire markets run across
That's
it,
right.
trading platforms, all healthcare records and
Huge healthcare,
details
yeah.
come across it. Military,
Yeah,
government, critical infrastructure,
yeah,
power generation, like
exactly.
movements in terms of what pricing it needs to be. Like it doesn't matter. It just everything runs through these pieces.
That's
So
exactly
cool.
right. And I think as and more is going to run through
Yes.
that as we take sort of legacy applications or legacy work projects and they're
Mm.
going to be digitized. The continued use of SD-WAN, fiber, towers, data centers is going
Mm.
to be more relevant.
Never stops. Yeah.
No, it's never going to stop.
So I'm going to keep going in the trend
Yeah,
of you
please.
building
Good.
because this is a really interesting
Yeah.
space. The data centers had become cool, but then everyone's jumped into the space.
Yeah.
People have realized that it's not that easy to build.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me something like everyone's been searching for 30 megawatt plus
Yeah.
up to gigawatts of
Yeah.
power. Do you fit into a spot where 10 megawatts is a little bit easier than trying to fight with the folks that are going to gigawatt campus, 500 megawatt campus? Is that, I'm assuming fighting for that is going to be almost impossible because there's just so many big companies doing it. Is that why you can fit into that space, or it's just I don't know? Like how do you
We're
get
kind of
into that?
we're a bit under the radar at this in
Yeah,
this space.
which is
We're
perfect.
it's
And
perfect.
it's actually rare that a hyperscaler needs that, but it's more the specific use case you're solving
That's right.
for is unique. And
That's
that's
right.
as opposed to saying I need, yeah, a gigawatt of all these chips that all sit in one location, which can be super hard to find, build, massive. But this is like
That's right.
you've sort of Tetrised your way into it, which is
We have, and
yeah.
looking at a data center, it's kind of like Tetris. One cabinet open,
Yeah.
it's exactly the same. But yeah, I think we were fortunate that had we gone probably 20 to 30 megawatts, it would have been a
Yeah.
lot more difficult. We would have had, I think, policy issues would have been a lot more critical and
Yeah.
challenging. Right now, where we sit from
And 10 is not, I mean, how big are they, like in terms of size?
uh,
Football field and all
yeah,
that.
so look, so we take down roughly 15 acres.
Okay.
So if you think about that, but yeah, I mean, it's in the range. We take additional land in case we want to do expansion.
Sure.
Want to make sure, but it's a couple 100,000. We can build up to a couple 100,000. We'll probably start with 100,000 square feet. It
Okay.
all depends on, we want to obviously make sure the cooling's right.
Yeah.
And I think, but we do have a standard design,
Hmm.
and we overbuy in terms of land just in case we want to
Yeah.
expand,
That's
right? I mean,
perfect, yeah.
the interesting piece is that you start with 10, and next thing you know, you're halfway through your build, and you say, "Hey, I need 30."
Yeah.
You know,
And can you, is it easy enough to get access to it's
I think the additional power is going to be challenging
Yeah.
for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
But we'll start with our 10, and then we'll see where we go from there.
And is it more that the infrastructure can deliver up to 30, but the supply side needs to just give you an allocation? Is that what, like what's the difference between going from 10 to 30, for example? Is it that you need to upgrade the physical cables coming, or is it that, no, actually, it's the whoever or whichever grid you're sucking it down from needs to say, no, we have more capacity, or
I think it's a combination of both,
it
right?
is.
We're gonna have
Okay.
to change, you know, the rack density will change,
Mm.
because we're probably gonna want more, more higher density.
Yes.
We'll have to go back to the power the utility,
Mm.
and we'll have to change that. Do we need to build a substation?
Mm.
there's a lot of different requirements once you go from that.
And a substation you need to build to take like high voltage transmission lines and
Yeah.
send it down. Is that what that's for? Or
Yeah, and I mean it's distribution, right? So I think what we're going to want to do is depending on, it's all about proximity,
mm,
where you want to build. Sometimes you don't need a substation right next to you, but sometimes you're going to want to have it. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's important that as we build,
there's
um,
a plan for potential future
yeah,
and what
yeah,
you can do.
and look, if we look at it by building a substation, that it gives us more optionality,
Mm,
right? And we say, okay, then we can do these type of extensions. I think the key is really you never want to have a single point of failure.
mm.
So you want to make sure that we have at least 5 to 6 fiber providers coming in
Mhm.
for
All going out different
yeah,
paths
all
and
coming in
yeah,
different
yeah,
paths and different
ducts
ducts
and
and
yeah.
different trenching.
Mm,
We want to make sure we're completely diverse from a power feed
mm.
perspective.
And then what is your diesel? How long do you need to run something like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
look,
that
we
like a
we want to have access for a number of days,
yeah?
and
Fascinating.
and we want to make sure we're on critical list.
Mm.
You want to make sure you also have pathway access to get into the
Yes,
facility.
yes,
That we're not building, like in the middle of the woods that we can't have access,
yes, yeah.
and that the streets, etc., are accessible. Because
It's like this is the part that's my
it
mind.
gets
It's
it
like
gets
it's so
it gets
yeah,
more complicated once you start to think through this. I
yeah.
mean, I think
And you
I
put all these. You need to have all these things. It gets really tricky.
I think you and I have talked about this. Is there was just so much movement of capital into this space, right?
Mm.
And I think everybody wants to continue to move into the
Yeah.
space, but I'm not sure. Uh, look, and this is folks who are sort of new investors in the space that really need to understand, the mechanics of how you
Right.
build
Yeah.
because you just, hey, I'll just dump money in here
Yeah.
but I don't really, follow how
It's
this
like
is
yeah,
built,
it's easy. Just
Yeah.
yeah, start building. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I found what I found really odd is I think there's plenty of companies that can get into construction and build. As in, you outsource to a construction company.
We do. We outsource to a
Yeah, it's
construction
not like you need
company.
to be, but so it's surprising to see them get it wrong. That's what I was really surprised at
Yeah.
ITW to hear multiple folks come up with these like data centers that are randomly built,
Yep.
huge amounts of capital going into them. You would think that the easy part is to do a hire consultant and build me a data center spec and hit all these certain requirements. But obviously, it's for whatever reason not occurring. That's really bizarre to me because I'm sure that's an easy problem. I thought that would be an easier problem. The design should be an easier problem to solve.
I think the challenge you have is there's been this movement to get into the data center space of builders, construction folks that,
Mm.
these are first time
So no,
folks.
yeah.
And that's a challenge. We partnered with Opidin based
Mm.
out of Minnesota, fantastic group. They've been doing this for quite a number of years.
They've been building data centers.
They've been
Yeah.
building data center for quite a number
Yeah.
of years. And I think that they not only they're familiar, they're doing it for multiple hyperscalers.
Yeah. So they know
So
we're around it.
I mean, they know their way around.
Mm.
I think, and look, we're fortunate that the hyperscaler we partnered with knew them, had familiarity with
Yeah.
them, and it actually ended up
And
working.
they'll have a certain spec as well that they need
That's
to be
right,
delivered
that's right,
to.
and they can do
Yeah.
soup to nuts, design, build, construction,
Yeah.
and operate for
Yeah.
us,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Oh,
So,
wow.
we've got incredible partnership with them.
Yeah. So you build, and then I assume these are long-term leases that happen
These are
to
long
fix.
term
Yeah.
leases, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These are long term leases.
It's like gold at the moment. So that's
These are long term leases, and investment grade tenant.
yes.
We're in the midst of doing a debt raise on this,
Yeah.
which is exciting. And
Yeah.
you're going through. I mean, you do this. I'm a novice at this.
No,
You're an expert at
not
this.
not in this space. No. We're publicly traded.
Yeah,
For us, we can raise capital on the markets.
yeah,
We did so for the
yeah,
acquisition.
yeah, exactly. Which is incredible.
Yeah, but
Congrats
someone
again
else
on that.
does all that for me, I just instruct people, and then bankers appear, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean, look, we're, it's an interesting company because we're a very we're a small group.
no,
We're 8 people,
it's
and we outsource.
you're 8 people, you're building almost 19, 10 megawatt data centers all across the United States and across Europe.
Yeah.
Couple of years, well, Alan's
We have
project.
24 months to do this, so
It's
we're
easy.
shoveling.
That's why you're not sleeping.
Hey, shoveling ground. I mean, that's why you and I were up working
Exactly.
out at 4 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
for the listeners who are listening to this, watching it, this banana, I get a text message at 4 a.m., 4:10 a.m. It just says, a word that was suggesting that I'm weak, and then saying, "Get down to the gym, man."
And you made it.
Well, the weird
And you
part
made
is
it.
I am not a morning person, but I was so jet lagged. I was awake and
Yeah.
silly looking at my phone. And I was like, I'm not going back to sleep now. This guy's challenging me. So I go down there thinking that I'll beat him. I'm younger and he's actually punching out way more. So it's like, I got schooled.
Well, our good friend Mr. Shuck, we'll give him a shout out right now. We're waiting for a push-up competition with him as well. So,
Yeah, Henry, where are you? Come on.
yeah, we're waiting. We're calling you out right now.
That's,
But look, I think this. I, I mean, as do you. I think we get excited by this industry, right?
yeah.
This is only.
It's so exciting now because it's
Yeah, it's
moving so
incredible.
quickly.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, the pace that we're moving at now
it's nuts.
is just nuts.
Mm.
It's just nuts. But and I don't. You tell me, but my view is we have exceptional growth to 5 to 6 more years at least.
I can't see it's slowing. I can only see it accelerating
Yeah.
at the moment. Yeah. This is this whole discussion about the bubble.
Yeah,
Is a bubble? Is a bubble? And it's like everyone in the moment in time would say, "Oh, it's not a bubble. Everything's amazing." No matter what bubble anyone's been in. But the thing I liken it back to is I remember cloud came into existence sort of 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone started getting into that. So it's what Megaport was founded on.
So that's
This
right.
whole cloud piece is this, and the clouds exploded. They just kept scaling. And it's like the cloud bubble. When's the bubble going to stop? But all this, but eventually, what happened is people stopped saying when's the bubble going to pop because they just got so big, and then they were just punching out 20 to 30% growth per annum. So what the bubble popping, so to speak, was just that it wasn't now at a growth rate of that. It was now just more consistent growth. But by that stage, 30% on the top of something huge is massive. So I suspect AI is going to do that.
Yeah.
But it's by the time it's right sizing itself, it's so big. And the challenges is so different in that it's so much power requirement. There's so much build. It's like there's a natural dampener on how fast we can grow. When SaaS grew, there was no restrictor. If you think of every SaaS company, they could literally grow at infinity almost because you could sit all your software on AWS. You could scale it anywhere in the world. You could sell it on USD and just infinite growth would be okay. It could actually withstand that. That's fine when Amazon's doing it and it's a small amount of compute required for software, any software business. This is rate limited by how much physical hardware can be actually powered on.
Yeah.
And NVIDIA chips are not cheap. So there's a huge capital constraint the capital is actually available, but I think it's how you monitor and manage the capital is key. Startups need access to them, but they can't get the capital. So then there's companies appearing to sort of provide in all these different ways. There's weird funding mechanisms going on.
Yeah.
There's a sea of it. But at the end of it, there's this throttling in terms of how many GPUs they can turn on and how many NVIDIA can pump out, and then how much even the memory and just lip drives. They can't get enough drives to turn these things on. So they can actually get the NVIDIA chips in there, but they haven't got a drive to make it work. And without that one piece of the puzzle, you take one piece of all of this giant jigsaw puzzle out and it stops working. So then there's this natural dampener occurring. We saw it with Anthropic. Like we just saw the other day, Anthropic literally had to start dampening everything down. They just didn't have enough GPUs to hit. And then they went and did that deal with Elon, taking out all the X. That'll get them for like 10 minutes before the next piece of growth. So now everything's sort of this wave. So then people say, well, the bubble's coming. There's still just not enough build coming for that. Jensen called out like $1 trillion in chip spend this year, just from the hyperscalers. Last year was $500 million. This year's $1 trillion. The hyperscalers wrapped up and gave their forward-looking or their guidance, in effect, not forward-looking, but they just gave guidance around CapEx spend, which aligns. And that's going to come through. Then there's all the neo clouds that are going to have to build for all those other folks. So I don't know. It's like naturally getting slowed almost in a weird way, even though it's growing so fast.
Well, I think what's you talk about company valuations today. I mean, Apple's at 4 billion, 4 trillion.
Trillions, yeah.
These are exceptional.
NVIDIA's 5 something.
5 trillion
Yeah,
plus.
yeah.
I think though the one thing that we're spending a lot of time thinking and talking about AI, which is incredible. It's a great, it is going to be, it's going to continue to be the future, but not to be sort of forgotten is that cloud's still growing at 30 to 40% a year.
Still huge amounts of compute getting deployed,
Yeah.
like unbelievable quantities of
mean,
compute.
The other thing that's really interesting is the IT adoption of fully outsourced services is growing at like 0.5%. It's growing at a very small pace. So the global idea and adoption of IT outsource is still huge. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much. We're in the early innings,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then lastly, so I think there's sort of four areas. It's AI, it's the IT adoption, enterprise adoption of IT outsource service. It's, cloud compute, and we're still content is going to continue to grow. I
Yeah.
mean, we're being broadcast. It's going through somebody's fiber, data
Yeah.
center,
Yeah.
tower, etc. So they have sort of these four buckets. We talk a lot about AI,
Mm.
but there's three other buckets that are still growing
Still
at
growing.
30% a year.
Correct. And they all live in a data center.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
That's right.
they all need fiber. They all need a data center. They all need a CPU, a GPU,
That's
some
right.
storage, or a network.
That's
So,
right. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a great business to be in, and I think, the more we
The
digitize,
DC side's far more like a real estate play.
it's
It's like,
100%.
yeah, so it's real estate for tech.
That's right.
The other elements that they put in it is tech. Um, but it's super complicated in terms of the designs now with those liquid
That's right.
cools. So it's just, I don't know. It's like,
I think the complexity has changed, right? We used to say, it's space, power, and cross connects. It's not just that now. I
mm,
mean, you're talking about, if you think about where companies were, you had maybe somebody who focused on, and 10 years ago, you had somebody who focused on power,
mm,
and that person had three other jobs at the company.
yeah,
Now you have data center
yeah,
companies that have 40 people in
yeah,
power,
yeah.
30 people in power.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so important
Is
today.
that just
Policy
because the
too.
amount of power they need to get to a single cabinet? Is
Well,
that what's?
it's working with the utilities, it's working with the
Oh, yeah.
community,
Okay. I
it's
see.
working
Yes,
with,
yes, 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 yes.
whether you're working with alternative use power,
Mm,
whether you're trying to investigate into can renewables, are there other sources and other
yeah.
means? I mean, the other area is policy. You didn't really talk about policy
Yeah.
before. Now you have people, you have groups that are set up for policy. I mean, I think this is, look, it's
Mm,
just a maturation of the business, right?
mm,
And we've moved through this, which is great. Look, I think we're
mm.
creating more jobs,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is great.
So many.
Creating
We chat on that panel, and your mate was talking about the electricians, the Sparkies that are.
we so we so there's some fairly significant builds going on in Abilene, Texas, right?
Mm,
I believe that electricians are being flown in there from 48 different states
yeah.
because so if you want, moves for data center space, we have experts in, the plumbing and,
Mm. How
electricians.
they
There's going to be
distribute liquid, how they
yeah, and
distribute power, how they,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think there's gonna be a shortage of that type of skill set. So
Actually, he was explaining something that was quite interesting in that a lot of industries can get support, like hands and feet support that aren't experts at a certain thing, but you can teach someone to do something pretty quickly, like
that's right.
splice fiber. There's no degree for it that takes 4 years. There's no whatever. You can
Yeah.
teach someone, you can start to get them good. But electricians, there's, what is that, 4, 6 years or whatever on the training just to get to that point.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, I think to have that expertise, yeah, and especially from a data center perspective.
yeah,
But yeah, that does take time. But there are some areas that you can work in this space that require less training and less schooling that I think also then you can obviously mature through the space and learn more.
yeah, which is creating new waves of jobs.
Yeah.
And so then everyone's carrying on that AI is going to retake all these jobs, and this is the piece that I find funny. I'm far more of an optimist around this.
I
But
agree
yeah,
with you.
yeah, it's like,
I mean, look, I think it's going to be AI in conjunction with human development and human
yeah,
interaction, right? I don't think you're going to, I think that there will be some jobs that AI will make more efficient,
mm,
right? I think but there's going to be a lot of, you need to have human development. I mean, I don't think unless we go to robotic sports,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I don't think people will find as fun,
yeah,
and
yeah,
exciting. That's there's sports. There's
mm,
so many things but look, I think the only thing that's going to happen, I believe, with AI, and it probably needs to, is there has to be some regulatory around it because
mm,
you're talking about financial trading and things like
yeah,
that, and using, the efforts of some type of AI, algorithm that
yeah,
can obviously influence. And so, look, but look at the other thing, healthcare. It can influence and create, can we find better and quicker ways to prevent or
yeah.
treat
There's so many
specific
things.
diseases and
Yeah,
things like that?
that was always the case. It's like if you think something's going to replace something, what usually happens, it just speeds it up, which means humans do it more,
Yeah, that's right.
and then we just do more and we get better at it. It's like someone gave me the example, an MRI. It's so hard to do. It's so expensive. Takes so long to look at it. If AI makes that really, really fast, then we just do lots more of them.
That's right.
Like I'll probably add one in my life. We might do it every month or whatever.
That's
Who
right.
knows? Yeah.
I think, 20 years ago, computers were going to replace everybody.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
that,
doesn't matter.
we use computers, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not
yeah,
replacing
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So
No, I don't think that's a big worry. So what else is interesting in your world? What else you got going on?
yeah, what else am I got going on? Well, I think a lot of engagement with this project.
Yeah,
It
that'd
takes
be huge, manage on.
it's a big one. On the personal level, you got to keep the fitness up.
Yeah, yeah.
You and I are big holes on the
No,
fitness.
I'm only catching you.
Yeah.
This is my new, yeah, look, I've got a little work
Yeah,
to get fit this year.
that's
Working on
I
it.
love the wood.
Yeah.
That's great. I got to get one of those. Look, I think this is, one of the areas that I've been passionate about within this space is my involvement with PTC.
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
so
invo-
cool.
I've been involved with
Yeah.
PTC. I think this is my 30th PTC.
So you now, what is it?
I'm chairman of
Chairman.
PTC.
Chairman.
Yeah, I'm the chairman.
I tried to get them to change that to Godfather. No, they weren't listening to me. Yeah. I
The
said,
Godfather.
how good would it be if they, yeah, we're officially, that's something I said to you. As soon as as my first act as chairman, I'm changing the title to Godfather.
That's it.
From henceforth, it shall be known as the Godfather of PTC.
We'll rewrite the bylaw.
See, exactly. Except rewrite them. You can. I'm serious.
Rewrite the bylaws. Exactly. That'd be great. No, I'm passionate about PTC. It's a nonprofit. And
PTC's evolved. Like,
PTC
man, it's
has,
different.
I think we had
I've only been in Megaport 3 years, and in the last 3 years, just the change of who's turning up is like completely.
yeah, and it's the clientele, the attendees, etc., has been incredible. We've expanded upon, its adjacencies, the data center, to the fiber space, to the
Correct.
tower space,
Cloud providers,
cloud providers, neo clouds.
neoclouds.
We had 10,000 plus people there this year.
Yeah,
And we want to continue.
bankers, funders, private equity.
You name it.
Yeah,
You
that's
name
what
it.
this is. Yeah, there's
think
more suits rolling around.
I
Yeah,
know. You can't wear a suit and Hawaii. I mean, how
Exactly,
is
it's
that's just
weird.
ridiculous. It is weird. Suit and tie. Come
What are
on,
you
who knows
doing?
that?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think the one thing that's really important about the mission of PTC is it's a nonprofit. We give back to the community. We invest a lot in the Pacific. We provide education to up and coming managers. We have this class called PTC Academy. We've partnered with Columbia University, where they bring the professors from the business school. So, look, I'm super passionate about this. I've been part of the planning committee for the last 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I know. When
Jeez.
I told you,
Been around,
I'm pushing Walker status. So
Miles off. Yeah,
but
you're only just getting started, but I looks at it.
exactly. I'm pretty passionate about that, and I think it's a great organization. Brian has, done a great job. Sharon ran PTC for quite a long time. She was amazing. She retired and Brian took over. Brian's done immense work.
Brian's the
Brian's
CEO.
the CEO. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Brian
Yeah.
Moon. He's done a great job of kind of working through, what do we want to see? Who do we want to,
How to curate something that people want to turn up to.
yeah, and I think we've had different, I'm gonna personally invite you to the Alakai, which I want to interview you there this time,
Here we go.
and
Versatile.
that's our new stage
I
there.
got less stories.
Yeah, you got amazing stories. You got amazing stories, but I think, that's where I'm super passionate. We have PTC Japan coming up next week.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
going to that too?
I will be going to Japan on
You
Tuesday.
gotta stop traveling, man.
I know.
You got 19 data centers you got to be building.
I know.
And by the way, this is the other thing. You're actually on the board of a lot of different companies.
I'm on the board of a few companies. I'm on the board of Advantage Europe. I'm on the board of
Advantage Europe's data center companies.
Advantage Europe is a data center company. I'm on a board of amazing little, it's not little, I shouldn't say that. It's 1623 Farnham, which is an interconnected data
Very
center
cool. Yeah.
in Nebraska.
Love those guys.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
We're building number 2. Shout out to Bill and Bill Severn and Matt Reid, Brian Bradley.
Yeah.
Brian, I know you're leaving for Bahamas because you got a tough job, but this weekend, I'm on the board of a company called CLC, which is an 18-wheeler trailer leasing business.
Which is
Mike Gore does a great job, and that's a Wafra.
okay. Is that
Yeah,
through
yeah,
those guys? Yeah.
And then I'm on the board of a company called Mach Wireless.
Saw that.
Mach Networks.
What is that?
Mach Networks is 4G, 5G.
Of course. So much sense.
And then what did I miss? I'm on Cade Lever's board, which is
Yeah, that's
which is
cool.
Coldcom, and they've
Yeah.
done an incredible job of. Company started 6 years ago. Cade kicked it off. Actually, it was started in Australia, and then they kicked off here. he's done an amazing
Yeah,
job.
I mean, we use them.
They're great.
They make actually all of our spaces look cool because they put all the little
Yeah, they
belt
do.
things on them.
It's really nice.
Yeah,
They do. He does a great job.
and all the
You know,
fiber connections in that must be just
he introduced me to R.M. Williams too. So
yeah, you got some boots.
I got some boots. I got
Australia's greatest export.
they're incredible. Yeah, and so I'm on that, and then we just sold Connect Base, so I left that board. It was
Yeah.
a great outcome
So
for
that you've moved off that, I assume, with the new ownership. Or
yeah.
someone who's
So
perfect.
new ownership, but
I saw Ben. He's probably got. I think yes, yeah. He's still going to stay around for a few years or whatever.
yeah, no, Ben's going to see it through.
Yeah,
He's done Ben's done. I mean, Ben built that on his credit card to
It's
a $200
amazing.
million company.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's pretty
Yeah,
you know.
and the amount of connections. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, what was it? Hundreds of thousands of.
It is.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, and the fact, kudos to him. You start, you rough it. I went through that with OCOLO, except he started 10 years earlier than I had 10 years younger. I was, as I said, I'm in, approaching Walker wheelchair status. At 50. But yeah, no, I mean, I think, and the other thing that I think you get from working with all these folks is you get to work with really smart entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's super fascinating.
I mean, these guys are really sharp, really creative. And it's great to talk about, for you and I, it's pretty lonely at the top.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy cow, who am I
Yeah.
gonna talk to?
Yeah, that's hard.
know,
You also got something with Aussie Super as well, don't you?
Yeah, so Aussie Super I'm an independent director for them for Vantage.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's the
connected.
linkage.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
but spend a lot of time with them. Going down to Australia for an event that they host in the next couple of weeks. They've been
They're one of our
incredible.
bigger investors, and so yeah, they've
Oh,
been awesome for us. Yeah.
They're great, and I can't say enough about Aussie Super. Work with a myriad of different folks there, and they've been great.
And they've also branched out because they typically, I mean, they're a superannuation fund in effect. So that's what's really interesting about Australia is 10% of everyone's wealth or income goes to actually these funds which help you retire, so the country doesn't have to pay for pensions and so forth. But with that comes unbelievable amounts of capital inflow constantly, and then they're constantly having to deploy that capital. So the bizarre thing is like the deployment of capital is like sort of perpetual. They then have to figure out where they put that, and they have percentages of, I think it's probably a certain amount has to go to Australia, and then of that, they break down to X percent in, tech and real estate and, mining and blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
Yeah, so in your case, they've also got international and overseas. They also have private, so they also have advantages. Oh no, is it public?
That is private.
Yeah.
They've invested in a number of other companies. They're invested in Syria, and they're invested in DataBank.
DataBank, yeah, I saw that as well.
They're invested in quite a number, and they've made that very sharp investment team.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time with those guys. They're good people too.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Yeah. Aussies.
Yeah, of course, they're Aussies. Come on.
Exactly.
They're Aussies. So.
I don't know. Go on, man. So yeah.
No. Look, I think it's exciting to talk about the industry, right? I mean, we're in an industry that I don't see it slowing down, as we talked about earlier. The one thing I think we're all going to be interested, and to put another plug in for Brian and team at PTC. I think PTC is you sort of come there in January and figure out kind of what the tech is for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to see, hey, what's going on,
It's like I think it was invented. Maybe you can tell me. I think it was originally invented for all the carriers when they first started to actually sell to each other. Yeah, trade minute. Was it time?
It was trading minutes. So
for voice.
50 years ago, it was almost 48 years ago. It was started where East meets West, and the middle point was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Where you go and you do minute exchanges for voice traffic.
That's hilarious.
And you talk about accounting rates, and that's it.
Well, nothing's changed. We're just changing bits.
That's right. That's exactly
whatever. Maybe now it's space power, but it's a great. This is the bit of. And COVID, we all went home. Everyone worked on video. Humans still need to get together. It's in that. In those discussions, you hear the it's like the water cooler chat between the organizations. That's where the discussions that are not shared if you get on a video call. It's like that example I told you about. Just you start hearing a few stories come out about these data centers that actually are not built to spec or not built appropriately, and then you're inheriting these spaces. And these companies that are buying them assume that they're going to be delivered at quality spec. Like when we land in a data center, we
Yeah, it's going to be
expect it to
built.
be a
It's going to be
certain
built well.
exactly. And then they've got their entire business riding on the fact that this is a time that it's going to be delivered, and we're going to put our infrastructure and then publish that infrastructure to our customers. And all of a sudden it comes along and it's actually not delivered to specs, which means you can't deliver it. And then to the whole company gets like, there's a big challenge through it. But I hadn't heard that last year. Last year, all I heard was we're out of space and power.
That's right.
And the year before that was like, things are starting to get like move. But last year was like, we've sold out completely. And then this year was just like, actually the builds that are coming through are random in some instances. Now, there'll be plenty of good ones, but it's just like an interesting sort of anecdote that I picked up.
What's interesting now is to try and find a megawatt or two is almost impossible in most
Yeah.
markets.
It's so
I mean,
hard.
that's, you think about that where, because we're sourcing basically for 100, 200 gigawatt,
Totally.
but you can't find a
We
megawatt.
come for the meg, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
There's so many gigawatt builds going on or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
you
So
can't
I
find
just
a
want a meg.
I just want a megawatt.
I want one
just want-
1,000th.
Can I have one cabinet?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And so then someone was telling me that they're looking, I had this company that jumped on, they're finding power and space in like commercial buildings,
Yeah.
sort of like stranded power. If there's 5 megawatts or something, I don't know what
Yeah.
would be in a building, but let's say it's 2. It's only usually one. We can put one in here and we
right.
could do that. Are you seeing that as well, or
I
do you think that is a
there's
place? Or
folks that are looking at, industrial builds today that if you can repurpose that industrial build
yeah,
to make a data center that has
what about office buildings or something? Like, is
office
that
less,
this is what I heard?
I think there's some, there's a bunch of people that are looking at taking malls and converting them into
Into
data
data
centers. Yeah,
centers.
because we've had a lot of challenges with the malls here in the U.S. where
Yeah,
in
yeah,
certain areas where they're,
just turn them on. Yeah.
we've basically, Amazon has become
Yes,
irrelevant,
yeah.
and so can you repurpose that into a data center or something else, industrial building, and so I think we've seen that. I think I would say less so in New York City will you take an office building because New York City
The power's
power's
expensive
expensive.
as well. Yeah.
We are a single point of failure here as well, just
Is
because
the power distribution? Or
just
like-
because bridges and
Oh yeah.
it's easier to probably be in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And
You could actually send diesel in.
yeah, well, that and if there's a geopolitical event or something like
true,
that,
true,
or
yeah.
some type of activity that
Mm.
prohibits entry and access. So I think that's more relevant. But yes, I think that we are in a point where we need to find stranded power
Yeah.
wherever we can. Yeah.
And then the other side is that people are choosing who takes their power. Like that's the
Well,
other piece.
it's
Mm.
it's basically if you're a credit worthy tenant, you
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah, that's the interesting piece.
That's
That's the funny piece. Like some of our customers who have scaled so fast are actually startups that are huge.
Yep.
They're raising huge amounts of
Yep.
capitals. They're very well funded. They're worth billions of dollars of market cap, but they're still not credit worthy. Or they don't have a credit component. They're credit worthy, I suppose, but they're so new. They're so that banks don't have a rating for them or what have you. So yeah, so it's hard for them to now figure out what they do in that space.
It's tricky. It's
Mhm.
tricky. I mean, it's kind of like I don't think I'd compare it to the 2000.
Yeah, that's everyone keeps
Startup.
saying weird stuff like that.
I
Like it's so,
I don't
it
agree
seems
with
so
that.
different.
I think it's quite different. I think
Well, there's revenue in this. That's
Yeah,
what's
correct.
probably different.
yeah. I mean, people are making money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, versus just market cap as with no money.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're basing it off of the future.
Mm.
Right. I mean, there is actual income coming in. And I
Mm.
think that, that's what we need to realize. I think the challenge today is everybody wants investment grade tenant. Right. which
Yes,
is-
they all want AAA.
Yeah.
And they want Microsoft or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
that's exactly it.
But
John.
the interesting thing about the fiber was most of it was unlit back in
That's right.
2000s.
That-
These data centers are getting utilized. Like the power is getting, the
That's
chips are turned on.
That's
So
right.
they are sucking, power
Ton
and
of
they're
power.
doing something.
Right.
So you're not turning them on and not doing something with them. They have
Yeah.
to be doing something. Yeah.
I think one of the things that, is unrealized today is that there was this thought of data center, data center, data center. There is a huge amount of emphasis that we need to put on in the future of how important fiber is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there is no wireless alternative from a connectivity standpoint today.
Correct.
And so I think that the point that your company and others are becoming so much more relevant
Yeah.
today with the massive usage and
How quickly you
passing.
can get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, it's, not only is it, hey, I need, I need my servers, I need my X, I need
Mm,
my power, I need my HVAC, etc. I need my fiber too.
mm, mm.
And I think that's really important to kind of think through.
When you're building your DCs, how do you figure that piece out?
We make sure when we send a site location to the specific hyperscaler we work with, it has to pass through their fiber team.
Okay.
So their fiber team has to approve.
So they either figure out they run to it, or could
Uh,
get someone, or there's already
or
part of
there's
the
3 or
design or
4
something.
local providers or
Yeah.
5
Okay.
providers. There might be a build as well.
Yeah.
So,
Why don't you keep doing that then? Because you know what I feel like's coming is inference,
yep.
and inference. This is one thing we've found with our customers is we had this statement is AI. I don't know if you've heard this from NVIDIA. Like AI doesn't care where it goes to school, which was this statement about a year ago or 2 years ago, where training was so big and they needed all these gigawatt scale data centers, and then they put all these chips and have them super dense inside these data centers. And then the statement was it doesn't care where it goes to school. And the meaning behind that was it didn't need to be located in New York
Yeah.
from a latency perspective. It could be in Australia, in Tasmania, or wherever it is,
Yeah.
in some location a long way away, which was true or is true.
Yep. That's right.
But what's different now is inference is actually another step. Not only does it not care where it goes to school, it actually doesn't care if the chips are all together at the same
That's
school.
right.
And that means that inference can have every chip operating independently as long as it's connected to the internet. And so in theory, you could stick all these chips you could have 124 chips, servers with 8 chips in each one, 1,024, 128 servers, sorry. And then you could split them to 124 different data centers in theory and run that. Now, what I think is coming is instead of just having to have a gigawatt campus where everything's so dense and all right next to each other for training, but I think the 10 megawatts or 5 megawatt campuses constantly appearing all over the place is enough to keep running enough inference. Listen, you could probably get, I don't know, call it 124 B300 servers would probably be like 1.7 megawatts. So you multiply that out, you could get X in 5, whatever that number works out.
Yeah.
That's a lot to do what you need to do. So I think if we could I think there's a space to keep doing that.
I completely agree. I mean, look, I think we're going to see more and more of these. I think we started with Edge, and that
Mm.
it didn't pan out as much as
Yeah,
we
well,
would
Edge
like.
was it was more around trying to solve for latency, and
That's
people
right.
probably
That's
don't
right.
care that much
That's
about
right. That's
latency,
right. And I think what we've done is
but it will for inference where they just don't care,
no, it will.
where it's
And
just
but I think
yeah.
what we've done is the development of the current data center providers, Equinix, Digital, TierPoint.
Mm,
Their data centers have become edge data centers
mm.
already because they brought in a number of fiber providers,
Yeah,
et
yeah,
cetera, and so
and actually the density is not high,
no, the
and
density's
yeah,
not high. I mean,
yeah,
you're talking about 8 to 10 kVA per cabinet,
mhm,
but I do think as you touch on this, we are gonna see deployments of 5 to 10 megawatts across the globe
mm,
to handle this inference
yeah,
that's coming, and we're not there yet,
yeah.
but that is a huge
I feel like
opportunity.
that's the next
It
wave,
is,
and
it
I feel
is.
like everyone's just focused on
On those large
hyperscale
builds. Yeah, these
campuses.
large builds.
And it makes sense. You go after the big monsters to start with, and the funding comes from it because it's
Yeah.
AAA, all the rest of it. But we're seeing huge demand for just give me 1 megawatt, give me
That's right.
2
Yeah,
megawatts.
and we're gonna continue to see that,
Yeah.
and I think that we're in the initial stages of that,
Mm,
right? Um, Incubating that process over the next 12 to 18 to it's probably, like, maybe 36 months.
mm.
It's definitely gonna happen.
Are DCs building that, or they're all just going for the big end? Like, I actually don't hear of many
N
of them.
not yet.
No.
Not yet. I mean, I think there's such a huge focus.
Like, are you odd building 10 megawatts? Is that like a weird thing?
I mean, it's definitely unique.
Yeah. It
But
wouldn't have been like a few years ago, but now it's sort of
a few I mean,
yeah.
10 megawatts a few years ago was like was a
It's
science.
giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a giant,
Mm,
But I do think it will change.
mm.
We'll see that development going more and more as you talk about inference. I don't think that that's there yet. There's a lot of discussion around it, but it's happening. It'll
It's
happen.
coming,
It'll
yeah,
happen. It's
yeah,
coming.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
you gonna keep building or you
yeah. I mean, look, I think
what's the plan?
we are very, very happy with our partner in
Yeah,
Operative
you got a lot
and
to
and the
do.
hyperscaler
Yeah,
we're working with. But I think we want to focus on this project right here.
yeah.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
It's huge.
It's a big one.
It's only 19 days.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
No,
It's a lot
it's
of work.
huge. Oh,
Yeah.
congrats, man. It's
Thank you
exciting.
so much. Appreciate it. It's been great to catch up. I'm in awe of what you guys are doing. I'm going to think congrats on your acquisition because it's
Yeah,
really
it's
incredible.
totally-
It was perfectly.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it couldn't have been better. And I think you got a great team in Latitude.
yeah. They're
You have
awesome.
an awesome Megaport team.
Yeah.
And I think, I love to see good people successful. And you're doing a great job running this company. And I think, I'm the old dinosaur here, and I like to watch the young guys actually kick ass. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks
You're
so
a
much.
legend. Thanks for
Hey,
coming, man.
thank you.